All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Spa. Avery Walker and Nick Sorensen on the front row. Xander and David Garman on the second row. Wessel Stevens, Mike Dolling on the third row. Simon Zierk and Adam Barker on the fourth row. Rudolph Gunther and Mike Marshall round out the top 10 with Max Gunther starting in 11th. All the drivers getting lined up, and the Fords are nose to tail. Does appear we're short a few drivers this morning. Nicole, that's what she said. Creasel not here. Ryan McDaniel also not here this morning. As the drivers get lined up on the grid, don't forget, folks, we have got a big day of racing today at 7:30 Eastern tonight. The BRR Cup Series is back. Then at 9:30 Eastern, SMR Gen 4 is back on track as well. A lot of great racing to come, starting with some GT3 racing here at Spa. All the drivers have taken to the grid. Porsche pace car has started rolling. Hey, good morning, Amethyst. How are you this morning? Pace car is in. Here they come. Green flag is in the air. They are down and away at Spa. Avery getting a good jump on the field. Xander quickly sliding into second. Into turn one. Will we see any problems? Everybody makes it through turn one and heads down the hill toward Eau Rouge. I'm doing great, Amethyst. Over the top, and as we mentioned, this is the new configuration of Spa, so track limits actually have not been a problem for the drivers here this morning so far, but will they as the race goes on? Obviously, the new curbing and the new surface will play a big factor here today. It's worth noting we see several drivers kicking up dust back behind. We posted on Facebook yesterday iRacing's new update coming this week will be huge because debris will have a huge impact starting next week. Hey, good morning, Pudsey. Huge shout out to Pudsey with the raid. Good morning, Dazzy. So far, no problems on lap one. They're at the far end of the track, and now's when the cars really start to, holy cow, Xander is sideways into the wall. He does a 360, gets going again. We'll take a look at the replay here in a moment. Appears Adam Barker had a problem as well. Wessel Stevens now up into second. Nick Sorensen in third, David Garman now in fourth, Mike Dolling in fifth. Simon Zierk in sixth, Rudolph Gunther in seventh, Mike Marshall now in eighth, and Max Gunther has had a problem. Let's take a look. Obviously, a few incidents here in the early going. There is Adam Barker, sadly driving a Ford here today. Gets loose out of the turn and slams the tire wall. Then a moment later, we saw Xander just a little bit wide into the sand and spins around into the wall. Then a moment later, Max Gunther had a problem as well coming through that final chicane. On the power, the back end just steps out. Definitely a bumpy start for a few of these drivers this morning. Adam Barker has taken his Ford to pit road. He has gotten it repaired, is back out on track, but the champ is in 11th. Avery starting to open up a lead already on Wessel, 2 1/4 seconds. Nick Sorensen in third, Gourmets in fourth, Dolling in fifth. Dolling is starting to close in. Remember, the McLarens have been the fastest car here all morning long. That little bit of fog may also be causing the track to develop a little bit of moisture. Definitely could impact the grip. I don't think we are expecting any rain this morning. But the track temperature is very cool at the moment. Air temperature 65. Track temp currently 66 degrees. And 96% humidity on track. You have to wonder how the track surface will do here this morning. That new surface, remember iRacing rescanned this. This is the newest version. It's only been out for about 12 weeks now. And this is the first time a lot of these drivers have been on this configuration. Avery set the fastest lap last time by, 2:18.45. Continues to pull a gap on Wessel. Nick Sorensen getting closer and closer to Wessel Stevens. David Garman in fourth, now has Mike Dolling and Simon Zierk. Right behind him, Rudolph Gunther, surprisingly not in the Team Gunther Porsche this morning, back in seventh. Xander, after his incident, is slipped back to eighth. Mike Marshall currently in ninth, but keep an eye on him this morning. He was up near the top of the leaderboards in practice. Max Gunther back in 10th, and Barker after his pit stop in 11th. Coming into this morning, Barker has locked up the championship, his 7th championship in NSS competition. Mike Marshall came into this morning as well, having locked up the amateur division championship this season. The first season that the league is divided into pro and amateur divisions, Mike Marshall has been on a tear. Avery's lead continuing to grow, now 3.5 seconds over Wessel. Sorensen still right on Wessel Stevens' bumper in third. Wessel in the lone Ferrari this morning. We talked about how fast the McLarens are here this morning and how fast they have been this season. But according to the drivers, that Ferrari is the only car that can keep pace with the McLarens today. David Garman now under attack as Mike Dolling right there with him. Simon Zierk also lurking, and as they battle, Rudolph Gunther starting to close in, and Xander is closing as well. The only car faster than Xander right now is the leader, Avery Walker. I expect Xander will come charging through this field as he catches them. And don't forget, when we go into race 2, the top 7 will invert. Right now, that will put Rudolph Gunther on the pole for race 2. Avery goes a little wide out of the final turn. Right on the apex in turn 1. We mentioned it earlier, though, with this new track scan, those rumble strips and curbs have a much bigger effect on the tires. It'll be interesting to see when race 2 starts if the drivers are a little bit more careful. Maybe don't use the apex and the curbing as much. Sorensen on the attack down the straightaway. Side by side, holy cow, Wessel holds him off. Mike Dolling has gotten past Garman. Garman slips back 2 spots as Simon Zierk now up into 5th. Mike Dolling to 4th. The battle continues for second place. Nick trying to get the run. Wessel holding him off for the moment. Almost a little contact there. These two are driving inches apart around the track. David Garman still lurking right behind Simon and Mike Dolling. Rudolph Gunther is starting to close up on all 3 of them, and he brings Xander with him. Max Gunther back in 9th. Mike Marshall slipping back to 10th. Adam Barker back in 11th. Now, Adam won the championship coming into this week. He already had the championship locked up. I'm guessing he's driving the Ford as punishment. Mike Marshall has brought the car to pit road. That's definitely an unexpected stop for Marshall as Avery just continues to check out as Sorensen battles for second again, but Wessel has the inside line. Wessel holds him off in second. Meanwhile, Avery's lead now over 7 seconds. As of right now, Avery will start race 2 back in 7th place, and I'm guessing we see a lot of the drivers pushing the track limits off a little bit into the sand. I'm willing to bet starting next week that is not going to be the case. iRacing has completely overhauled and updated the debris physics, and they will be much more accurate to the real world, including getting them stuck on tires, throwing them out on track, and throwing debris at the cars behind you. I'm willing to bet as that becomes a bigger impact, these drivers are likely going to stay a little bit more inside the track limits. Wessel Stevens still holding on to second. Sorensen, though, right there with him. Sorensen may take it this. No, he can't. Couldn't get far enough. Wessel able to just push it a little deeper. Mike Knowling in 4th. Simon Zierk in 5th. Garmin in 6th. Rudolph Gunther was gaining ground on him, but now Rudolph having to be defensive as Xander has caught back up to him. Xander cuts low through the first turn. Now the run down to Eau Rouge. Hudsy, I am definitely going to start documenting these. Hudsy mentioned a couple weeks ago that the track map with at Watkins Glen with Boot looked like a man bent over kneeling or praying. This week, a seagull, a birdman, or an awkward aeroplane. And once you see these things, you really can't unsee them. Nick Sorensen finally completes the pass, takes second. Wessel now back to third, but Mike Dowling closing in. Simon still holds on to 5th. Garmy back in 6th. Rudolph Gunther in 7th. Xander still in 8th. Hasn't been able to get past Gunther yet. Max Gunther back in 9th, Barker in 10th. Worth noting, Avery Walker's Nick Barney just checked his watch. Never seen that before. Worth noting, Avery Walker's nickname in the league is Texas Ranger. One of these days, you might keep an eye out on it. On our Facebook, we may end up posting some of the driver nicknames throughout all the different leagues. Max Gunther is on pit road. Looks like Max had a problem a moment ago. Let's see what happened. Oh, Max way wide through the sand and a hard hit to the wall. Visible damage looks minimal, just the splitter, but I'm willing to bet that car has some internal damage. Avery continues to extend his lead over Sorensen, now 10 seconds. Sorensen has pulled a gap on Wessel. Now about 1.5 seconds. Dalling is closing on Wessel. He's about 1.9 back and gaining. Simon Zierk back in 5th. Garmin, who was gaining ground and staying with Simon, has lost quite a bit. Xander now just 1.8 seconds behind him. White flag is out one more time around for Avery Walker. His lead is big enough. He doesn't have to push it, just keep the car headed in the right direction. Sorensen in 2nd, Wessel back in 3rd. Dalling getting closer and closer to Wessel at the moment. Xander back in 7th is closing on Garmy very quickly. Adam Barker, now up into 10th, is closing on Max Gunther. But he is 8.5 seconds back and likely not going to get there. Now remember, going into race 2, the top 7 will invert. Avery Walker will start race 2 in 7th place. Nick Sorensen back in 2nd, Wessel in 3rd. Dalling continuing to reel in Wessel, but will he have enough time? Mike definitely pushing the car. He set his fastest lap last time by. But as we mentioned, that Ferrari is the one car that can hold pace with the McLarens here this morning. And here comes Avery Walker into the final chicane. Out of the final turn, Avery Walker will dominate race 1 at Spa. Nick Sorensen comes home in 2nd. Wessel Stevens finishes 3rd. And let's talk to our top 3 while the drivers get ready to go out and make some last-minute adjustments before race 2. Starting with Wessel Stevens. Wessel, that was one heck of a run this morning to come home in 3rd.
Yeah, it was a really good race. Pretty satisfied with the results. Up to the next one.
Well, I have to ask. We talked to the drivers before the race. You guys were talking about the changes to the track coming into this morning. So, do you feel that the changes helped you or hurt you?
Definitely helped me. It was non-scale out track.
Well, you definitely showed you had one of the fastest cars out there this morning. Congratulations.
Thank you, Doug.
Wessel Stevens came home in third. Nick Sorensen finishes second. Nick, you came home in second, but it looked like you had quite a bit more speed than what we saw.
Yeah, I kind of gave myself a penalty there by cutting the corner the first lap, so I was just a little bit behind. And then Wessel put up a good fight there. Took me about 3 laps to get around him, so that was it this race.
It definitely made you work for it. That was quite a battle you guys had back and forth. Both cars seemed fairly equal.
Yeah, it's a really tough place to pass. It's just tough to pass around here at all unless you get a really good run, but that's why it took me 3 laps. But yeah, it was really great racing, so happy with second place.
Well, great job. Good luck in race 2, bud.
Thanks.
And finally, our winner, Avery Walker. Avery, no surprise to see you back in victory lane, and man, that was an impressive win.
Yeah, thank you. Spa is my favorite track, so glad it went well. I don't think this next race is going to go quite as well. It's a little difficult to pass here, and 15 minutes is a long race, so like tires are going to hurt. I'm sure someone's going to bend in Eau Rouge, so I think first one was taking it easy. This next one's going to be interesting.
You mentioned the tires. Obviously, when we talked to you guys before the race, a lot of concerns about the curbs now. A little bit more tire wear when you're pushing it right to the limit with the track surface as well. Do you conserve tires, or are you thinking about swapping tires on the pit stop?
I'm not going to swap tires, but I definitely will try to conserve tires if I can. Like if people are battling, just take my time, be patient, save tires, or if I end up in front, just sort of manage it. Because I am worried they're going to run out at the end.
Well, it's definitely going to make for an interesting shakeup here this morning. Congratulations and good luck in race 2.
Yeah, thank you.
Avery Walker wins race 1. He will have to start from 7th in race number 2. Doesn't look like many of the drivers out on track for warm-up yet. Normally we'd see a lot of the drivers practicing pit road entry, but as you heard, a lot of these drivers, this is a favorite track for a lot of folks. So a lot of the drivers have a ton of experience coming to pit road. And remember, a lot of these drivers did compete in the 24 hours of Spa earlier this year. That definitely gives them a bit of an advantage when you're either driving or spotting for 24 hours. You really learn the track. Just a minute left to go, then they are back out on track here at Spa. Looks like Mike Marshall's going to come out for part of a lap anyway. Don't forget, new season begins next week, so if you're interested in joining, does not matter your skill level. If you're interested in going GT3 racing, make sure to let us know. We'll get you in touch. We'll post the recruitment information on Facebook this week. Warm-up comes to a close. It's time for the endurance race. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race number 2. Xander and David Garman on the front row. Simon Zierk, Mike Dolling on the second row. Wessel Stevens, Nick Sorensen on the third row. Avery Walker, Rudolph Gunther on the fourth row. Max Gunther and Adam Barker round out the top 10. Mike Marshall starts in 11th. And unfortunately, due to this track configuration being so new, we don't actually have our usual camera sets. Hopefully we'll have them back by the time they get back at Spa. Everybody getting stacked up on the grid. And Mike Dolling did not make the grid. He will start from pit road. And Wessel Stevens did not make the grid either. The sun is starting to set just a little bit here at Spa. Xander will be in control of the start once the pace car drops in. And there goes the Porsche pace car onto pit road. Xander fires. They are away. Green flag is in the air. Race 2 at Spa. Everybody makes it through the first turn clean, but we did hear Sorensen mention the possibility of somebody binning it coming through Eau Rouge this time. Everybody makes it to the top, onto the straightaway. Mike Dolling is rolling off pit road. Xander leads him down into the first turn, or into the first chicane. Garmin trying to hold on to second, but Nick Sorensen is right there. Guys definitely pushing the track limits here in the first lap, trying to get any advantage. Garmin holding on to third, but oh, Garmin goes wide. No rear grip out of the Mustang. Xander, Sorensen, and Walker, the top three. Simon Zierk in the BMW in fourth. Max Gunther now up into fifth. Rudolph in sixth. Adam Barker up to seventh. Mike Marshall in eighth. Garmin in ninth. Garmin on the attack. Mike Dolling back in 10th. Wessel Stevens does not look like he will be racing. The two Fords at the back of the pack at the moment. And it's a McLaren 1, 2, 3 at the front as they complete lap 1. Let's take a look at the early incidents. There was Garmin in that battle for third. Just loses the back end, slides it all the way out. We've talked all season, that Mustang does not have any rear grip. And then Mike Marshall just a little bit later in the Porsche. Marshall goes a little wide. Barker slides by. And then Leiter once again does get it gathered up. Xander out front has already opened up a big lead as they battle for second. His lead now 3.3 seconds. Nick Sorensen in third, Avery Walker in fourth, Simon Zierk in fifth, all right there. I'm sorry, second, third, and fourth, all right there together. Fifth place, Max Gunther back behind, about 2.9 seconds back. Barker right behind him. Oh, Max a little wide. Back into the sand, but he saves it and keeps going. Adam Barker does slip by into fifth, and Gourmets closing behind in sixth. Let's take a look at this incident. Max just swings a little wide. Gets just enough of the gravel to loosen the car up. He does get it gathered up and going, but not before losing a position and a lot of momentum. Rudolf Gunther has had a problem back behind. There's Rudolph in the McLaren this morning, surprisingly. Oh, into that final chicane, the back end just loses grip. Quickly gets it recovered and rolling again, but lost a lot of time. Xander has the fastest lap so far in the lead, 2:18.55. As he continues to pull the lead, now 3.2 seconds over Sorensen and Walker. Simon Zierk in fourth, starting to lose ground on that second place battle. Adam Barker now up into fifth, Max Gunther in sixth. Garmin right on his bumper in seventh, and Mike Doling right on Garmin's bumper in eighth. Rumor has it going into the next season. Wow. Oh, Adam Barker loses it. He is hard into the wall. He does get it rolling. I'd expect to see him on pit road. He has lost the rear wing on the Mustang. And here he comes. Let's take a quick look. There's Barker as he comes through the turn. Just loses rear grip. Can't save it. Smacks that outside wall. Heavy damage to the Mustang. He does get it turned around, but lost several positions and had to make that pit stop because Mustang doing Mustang things. Barker on his way back out. Nick Sorensen in second, but the leader, Xander, has set an even faster lap. We heard Sorensen mention he was going to be, both him and Avery, going to conserve a little bit of tires. Xander obviously not conserving anything last time by, a 218.22. Simon Zierk back in fourth. Max Gunther in fifth is closing on Simon, but he also has the Minister of Defense, Mike Doling, on his bumper. David Garman about a second back in seventh. Mike Marshall still holds on to eighth. Rudolph Gunther in ninth. Adam Barker back in 10th. Barker has a lot of work ahead. And Xander just set the fastest lap in the first lap this morning under the 218 mark, 217.95. Xander is definitely not conserving anything on the car this morning. Nick Sorensen in second has started to pull a little bit of a gap on Avery Walker in third. Top three, all McLarens at the moment. Simon Zierk in the BMW in fourth, Max Gunther in the Porsche in fifth. The Porsche definitely has a disadvantage here at Spa. As we mentioned all season long, it does not have the straight line speed of the other cars. However, I did hear a couple of drivers this morning saying the Porsche can definitely get through the corner and out of the corner a lot faster than anything else. As the sun goes down, the track temperature has started dropping, now down to 65, or excuse me, still at 66. Do expect to see the track temperatures going down as the race goes on. And this is a very tricky track to drive in the dark. Add to the fact that with the updated track, all the drivers said their usual braking points, usual track markers are not relevant. They've had to all find new markers to know when and where to brake. Nick Sorensen in second. Avery has started pulling back up in third. Now just 3/4 of a second back. Simon Zierk currently in fourth. Max Gunther in fifth. Mike Doling in sixth. Garmin still holds seventh. Mike Marshall in 8th, Rudolph Gunther in 9th, and Adam Barker in 10th. And the number one feature of those McLarens, as we've pointed out all season, those top-mounted mid-bumper exhaust mounts do tend to spit some flames. And let's take a lap with Avery Walker as the sun goes down. They head down into turn one. That hard right-hander right to the apex, power out. And down the hill toward Eau Rouge. Max Gunther has had a problem behind. We'll take a look here in a moment. Up through Eau Rouge, full sending it. On the power, trying to stay in the slipstream of the car ahead. And flashing the lights just to distract him. Hard on the brakes into the first chicane. Using every bit of the track. Remember, this will change starting next week with the updates and the new debris. Back down the hill. In the left-hander, this part of the track is so easy to overshoot, swing wide, and get a slowdown penalty. Right, left turn, then back on the power at the far end of the track. Staying in the slipstream of the car ahead, trying to maintain as much speed as possible and get a run, find an opportunity to make a pass for position. He's going to try and send it deep into the chicane. Couldn't quite get it there through that final chicane. On the power and back toward the start-finish line. Avery did that lap at a 2:19.14, and let's see what happened to Max Gunther a moment ago. And there's Max in the Porsche. Oh, just a bit wide, and the same thing we saw earlier through that sector. Just loses the rear grip and slams that wall. He did bring it to pit road for repairs. Xander continues to hold about a 3.1 second lead. Sorensen and Walker battle for second. Simon Zierk back in fourth. Mike Dolling in fifth is starting to close the gap on Simon. He is 6.3 seconds back and closing. David Gourmet in sixth, about 3.25 seconds behind Dolling. Mike Marshall back in seventh. Rudolph Gunther in eighth, about 10.25 seconds back. And look at this, Adam Barker, the new champ, currently in ninth, is closing in rapidly on Rudolph. Max Gunther back in 10th. After that pit stop, after that incident, and then stopping for repairs, is back on track, but 23 2.5 seconds behind Barker. Nick Sorensen had an off track a moment ago and has lost some speed and looks like a little bit of a slowdown. He is now almost a full second behind Avery. Last time by, Avery Walker was the fastest car on track. Now just under 3 seconds behind the leader. But don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, they still have to make a pit stop. Pit strategy this morning could be huge. Will they take tires? Will they take 2 tires, 4 tires, or fuel only? And how much time can they make up with fresh tires? Remember, a few of the drivers did say after race 1, they know at the end of this race the tires will be junk. You have to wonder, as the race goes on, will their strategies change? Will they go ahead and take at least front tires and see if they can make up a little bit of time on track? Xander comes across the line with Avery just 2.9 seconds back. Avery starting to chip away at the lead little by little. Speaking of chipping away, Adam Barker has just made the move into 8th place. He is 9.4 seconds behind Mike Marshall. The last time by, he was well over a second faster than Marshall. And Mike Marshall is the first one to pit road. Now we'll see what kind of pit strategies the drivers are going to use here today. Marshall hits his stall. The car has not gone up. This will be a fuel-only stop for Mike. And he is rolling again. It looks like at least one driver is sticking with the rubber he's got on the car. Xander out front is starting to see his lead shrink. Avery Walker in second, now just 2.1 seconds back. Avery definitely starting to push the car to its limit. Hey, good morning, Mark. Avery continuing to close in on the leader. Sorensen in third is losing touch with Walker at the moment. He is now 1.8 seconds back. And it looks like Yannick Gunther is here cheering on Rudolf Gunther. David Garman bringing his Ford to pit road. Looks like fuel only for Garman. Garman filled up, down and away. So far, no tire changes. Xander's lead is shrinking. Avery in second, 1.6 seconds back. Can Avery get there, get the job done, and pull off the sweep here this morning? Avery Walker pulled off the sweep 2 weeks ago at Sebring. And if Avery ends up being able to race the entire season, next season, he's going to be tough to beat. Yannick also cheering on Max Gunther. Max had problems early on, has drifted back to ninth. Rudolf Gunther currently in seventh, trying to close in on Barker in sixth. Xander's lead about 1.5 seconds at the moment. Avery has now pulled a 2-second gap on third place Sorensen. Sorensen still one of the fastest cars on track. In fact, the only car faster than Nick Sorensen is Avery Walker at the moment. Avery continuing to chip away at the lead. This is only Avery's 5th week this season. And all but Watkins Glen, he has won at least one race each week. He won the second race at Fuji, both races at Sebring, and the second race last week at Laguna Seca. And Avery is getting closer and closer. Now just 0.7 of a second back. The leader is in. Avery to the lead. Nick Sorensen also in. Will we see tire changes? Xander heads toward his pit stall. He is in. Xander is getting tires. Sorensen getting tires. Simon Zierk stays out to take second. Meanwhile, Avery Walker out clean air, has the track to himself for the moment. Now we'll see, will the fresh tires on Xander and Sorensen make a difference late in the race? Avery Walker was not planning on changing tires on his pit stop. Will that strategy change? Hey, good afternoon, Hogo. How are you, buddy? Whoa, Avery a little bit wide there. Looking to see, will he come in this time? Avery Walker brings it in. That just leaves Simon Zierk, who has not been in yet. Now the question is, does Avery's strategy change? Will he take tires? And it does not look like Avery's going to take tires. This will be a fuel-only stop. Simon Zierk is now in. Mike Dolling taking the lead. Oh, Hogo, that is awesome. Simon Zierk begins to roll off pit road. Avery Walker in second. Xander blinking the light, and now everybody's blinking. Normally that is just a signal for lap cars to get out of the way, but a lot of these drivers will use it trying to distract the driver ahead, force him to make a mistake, but I don't think he's going to make Avery make a mistake here. Remember, Xander has fresh tires, Avery does not, and that could be a factor late in this one. Mike Dolling has the lead for the moment. And at the moment, it's McLaren's 1, 2, 3, and 4. However, Dolling still has not completed his stop. Mike did have to pit early in the race for repairs. But he was unable to get enough fuel to make it to the end. And here comes Dolling onto pit road. Dolling hits his stall. He is going to take tires. Avery Walker still has the lead. Xander right behind. Nick Sorensen about 4.5 seconds back in third. Simon Zierk now in fourth, and Barker up to fifth. Now the question is, can Avery hold off the fresh tires of Xander and Sorensen. For another 16 minutes. Hey, good morning, Cody. Well, glad you got some sleep, buddy. Avery's lead just half a second. And we knew this could come down to whose tires were better. Xander and Sorensen having the fresh tires out here could be a deciding factor. All the drivers did mention that they knew at the end of this race the tires would be junk. Xander able to stay right with Avery and making the turns a lot tighter as well without losing ground. That little bit of extra grip may decide this one. And the top two continue to pull away. Sorensen, despite fresh tires, now 5 seconds back in third. Simon in fourth, Mike Dolling in fifth, about 4 1/4 seconds back and gaining, with Adam Barker just over a second behind him. Avery Walker dominated race one at a 10-second lead at the end of the race. But the question now is, can he even keep Xander behind him? Nick Sorensen, who was up in this fight before pit stops, since pit stops, has actually been losing ground. Simon Zier cold steady in fourth. Adam Barker is taken fifth from the Minister of Defense. There's Barker back behind. Oh, Mike Dolling had an off track and a little bit of a slowdown that allowed Barker to slip by and take fifth place. Take a look at some of the speeds they get as they go around the track, as we've got a battle for the lead. And up the hill, Avery holds him off. Xander trying to make the move to the outside. He may have it. Xander to the lead as they tap 150 down the straightaway. Avery, though, back on the attack on the outside. He's trying to pinch Xander down. Nick Sorensen, who was over 5 seconds behind, is closing back up. Pudsey, what'd you have to eat? Xander has the lead for the moment, but Avery still right on his bumper. Avery definitely will have the advantage on the straightaway in the slipstream. Hudsey, that does sound really good. Avery still right on Xander's bumper. Can he make the move into the first turn? Didn't have enough of a run. Remember, Xander has the advantage of fresh tires. And it definitely seems to be paying off here. Adam Barker has had a problem back behind. We'll take a look here in a moment. A battle for the lead once again. Avery has the run. Side by side into the chicane. Whoa, Avery has a bobble. Xander pulls away. See if we can see what happened to Barker a moment ago. Adam just loses rear grip. The same thing we have seen out of that Mustang all season long. No rear grip on the power. He does get it rolling, no damage, but he does lose a position. Folks, don't forget, it's Sunday. It's a big, big day of racing. Tonight at 7:30 Eastern, the BRR Cup Series is back. Looking forward to the start of a new season. Several new drivers in the field. And a lot of exciting battles. Then at 9:30 Eastern, the SMR Gen 4 Series is back. That series has been non-stop excitement. That SMR Gen 4 series has more than once left me sweating and breathless at the end of a race. It is just non-stop battles. Avery took turn one a little bit wide, lost some ground. Nick Sorensen back in third, now just 2.5 seconds back as the battle for the lead continues. Avery right on the bumper of Xander, back into the chicane, inches apart at 150 miles an hour. Rudolph Gunther has slipped back to 10th. Looks like he had a problem a moment ago. Oh, same place we have seen so many cars swing wide today. Fortunately, he manages to hold on to it, keep going. A little bit of a slowdown, but not a huge impact. Adam Barker and Mike Marshall battling for 8th. Marshall in the Porsche has the advantage in the turns and definitely has the advantage on corner exit. Can he capitalize and put Adam back in his mirror? Adam has said after 7 championships, rumor has it, Barker will be punishing himself next season driving the Ford. Xander still out front, followed by Avery. Sorensen in 3rd is losing ground again. Is now 4 seconds back now that these two have gone single file again. Avery is definitely not letting Xander forget he is there, inches off the bumper. Max Gunther has come back to pit road unexpectedly. Looks like this might just be a splash of fuel and some repairs. He is rolling again. Hey, good morning, Steven. How are you this morning, sir? Oh, Avery goes wide. He was trying to carry as much momentum as possible and stay in the slipstream. He might actually lose the draft here. Avery Walker now 1.4 seconds back. As Xander crosses the start-finish line, should see the white flag next time. Avery's got about a lap. Avery's got about 2 laps to try and run him back down and pull off the sweep. Well, good deal, Steven. Why are you so happy this morning, buddy? Make the rest of us happy. Xander unable to pull a gap as Avery is back to his bumper at the end of the straight. And I suspect both of these drivers about to turn it up to 11. Sorensen has also cranked it up. He is 3 3/4 seconds back and closing. If these two start battling, Sorensen will be back in the fight. Simon Zierk back in 4th, Dolling in 5th, closing. David Garman in 6th. Adam Barker in 7th. Max Gunther in 8th, right on Barker's bumper, with Mike Marshall in 9th, right behind him. Worth reminding everybody that as the season closes, Adam Barker is the new champ. White flag is in the air one more time around. Adam Barker now the 7-time champ, and this season for the first time ever they have pro and amateur divisions. And Mike Marshall has dominated the amateur division this season. Last lap, does Avery Walker have anything left? He's going to have to make an aggressive move or force Xander to make a mistake. This track is definitely tough to pass at. You have to set it up just right and time it perfectly. Avery's starting to peak. As they head down into the hauler, Avery still right on Xander's bumper. Rudolph Gunther has had a problem back behind. Rudolph out in clean air into the final chicane, and we have seen it a bunch of times. Just loses the back end, underpowered, does a 360, and keeps rolling. Avery still right there, but may not have enough. He's going to need a big run going into the chicane, and I don't know that he has it. Xander leads it into the chicane and out of the final turn. Xander swings wide, and he gets the win in race 2 at Spa. Avery Walker comes home a very close second. And Nick Sorensen coming home in 3rd. And let's talk to our top 3. Starting with 3rd place, Nick Sorensen. Nick, that was one heck of a run, and I noticed you took tires on your stop. It just didn't seem like they were enough.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, I took left side tires just because those seemed like they were wearing out the most. But yeah, Xander and Avery, they were pretty fast. I was just trying to do everything I could to try to catch them. But pushing like that, made a couple mistakes, and then couldn't do it.
Well, a couple of times you really gained a lot of ground, and then they'd start battling. Just wasn't enough. You needed them to battle for about an entire lap.
No, I needed him to battle for about the whole race, but yeah. So it was give my best, and happy to come home with 3rd.
Great job, man.
Thanks.
Avery Walker comes home in 2nd. Avery, you definitely gave it everything you had there, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. That was very tough, but that was a ton of fun with Xander. Unfortunate, ultimately I got a slow down, which I think is what let him by. And then he got a slow down, which is what let me catch back up, but just couldn't get it done the last couple laps.
Oh man, it was still quite a battle back and forth between you two. One heck of a showing. A great morning, man.
Yeah, lots of fun. So great race with Xander.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks.
And finally, our winner, Xander. Xander, you definitely had your hands full with Avery, but man, great job holding him off.
Yeah, it was a fun race with Avery. I was hoping he would send me on the last lap, but he didn't. So yeah, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, you definitely put on one heck of a show. You guys definitely had one heck of a fight, and you definitely earned the win this morning, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Xander gets the win. Adam Barker wins the Pro Championship. Mike Marshall wins the Amateur Championship. Folks, don't forget, more racing to come. 7:30 Eastern, BRR Cup Series is back. 9:30 Eastern, SMR Gen 4. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope y'all had as much fun as I did, and we will see you guys later. We will see you guys later tonight at 7:30 Eastern for BRR Cup Series. The start of a new season is always exciting. We'll see you then. Have a great night, everybody.